Chuck, I'm really struck by the fact, though, that Nancy Pelosi didn't have a huge majority and had to deal with the squad and a lot of other people saying, you know, we should have generational change, we should be more liberal. A lot of questions that were raised in 2018. And somehow the Democrats managed to pull it together and not humiliate their leaders.
The only thing I've been thinking about this between Pelosi, McConnell, and I put them over here, and then you put McCarthy over here. And you
institutionalists.
Ask yourself, how have Pelosi and McConnell been able to navigate this? First of all, the two of them, they actually have fear as a tool. All right, they successfully now. Some of that is taken over time. You know, sometimes I've wondered, Kevin McCarthy's biggest problem, I think sometimes, is he never was a rank and file member of Congress. He never was a subcommittee member for a while and didn't have to work his way up. He didn't ever, he fast-tracked to leadership. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brendan, but I believe
second term
in leadership.
I mean,
he fast-tracked, basically, he skipped the line. He doesn't know what it's like, actually, to be a rank and file member for a long period of time. And Nancy Pelosi did. She was elected in 87. She didn't really get into serious leadership till the end of the 90s.
And she apprenticed under her father.
That's right. And Mitch McConnell, he got into leadership late in the 90s, over a decade. So I actually think some of this really is Kevin McCarthy has not done the groundwork to understand what every rank and file member needs. He has always been through the perspective of leadership. So I wonder if that's why he just doesn't seem to be able to close this deal the way Nancy Pelosi could go to an AOC. You know what? I was you at one point. You know, I was the backbencher, and I know what it's like. Bide your time here. There's a way to use your influence, right? Kevin McCarthy, he fast-tracked himself. So if he fast-tracked his way to leadership, why shouldn't these other guys?
What's so remarkable?
So I wondered how much of his lack of sort of working his way up into the institution is working against him today.
What's so remarkable is that some of these members voting against him are members for whom he contributed and raised money. In one case, $1 million.
None of them really needed him.
So
honestly, none of them needed him.
I would push back on it a little bit that while Kevin McCarthy did fast track into leadership, he did so because he had really good relationships with lots of members, and he was really a student of what members care about, what they want, what's important to them in their district. He understood a lot of these things. The conclusion I'm sort of coming to, though, is I don't know that there's really anything Kevin McCarthy could have done. And we'll go back and we'll look at like what mistakes did he make along the way. Mm-hmm. I don't know that there was a scenario where there's any play he made where this outcome did come.
It's amazing. I've been curious about the sphere factor, the fact that, you know, you don't appease your way into power. The minute you start appeasing, and I think McCarthy's been nothing but an appeaser, right? He appeased Trump, and then he appeased Marjorie Taylor Greene, he appeased Jim Jordan, right? It was all to make this moment, and everybody realizes, oh, you're willing to appease? Well, then I can roll you. That, you know, so I think that's been a problem here. But, and anyway, I just think that ultimately, as someone said to me, Tom DeLay, who used fear a lot, I asked veteran members there, now I was there with DeLay, and said, DeLay wouldn't get the vote.
If I could ask two things would be, one, the differences between the squad and Nancy Pelosi, where, oh, you might be not progressive enough, except that Nancy Pelosi was very progressive. So when they got into Congress, they realized that they were dealing with a leader who actually had very much the same goals with them, and they had policy priorities. They had sort of real differences on things that they could talk about, where you have this 20 members of the Republican caucus, you're not even quite sure what they really want. It's not policy-based. It's not that they want to see things be more conservative. They have a personal gripe with Kevin McCarthy. Also, when you talk about fear, I remember in Nancy Pelosi, when there was some talk about whether or not she might be the House Speaker, you started seeing a bit of opposition research start coming out. You started seeing members fall in line, not only because they respected her, but also because Nancy Pelosi was saying, look, I can give you a little bit of stuff, but don't try me. And I think that was sort of part of it, is the fear that she was able to also wield with.
And she also said she knew how to count votes, and everybody knew that she knew how to count votes. Well, this debacle for the last 2 days indicates that Kevin McCarthy does not know how to count votes.